June wiped the sweat from his forehead as he adjusted the small glass case on his desk. Inside, a small green lizard flicked its tongue at him. The tiny creature was June's only reminder of Earth, a small piece of home aboard this massive research ship floating in deep space. "Don't worry, Miri. I'll be back soon," he said softly. The lizard tilted its head as if it understood. June smiled and straightened his blue uniform with the Earth Alliance patch. Today was important. The first meeting with the Sauri Empire representatives was about to begin. As the ship's top xenobiologist, June had to be there. He had studied the Sauri for years from reports and data, but this was the first time humans would meet them face to face. His heart beat faster as he walked through the long metal hallways of the ship. Captain Doyen was waiting at the docking bay with the greeting team. She looked tense. "Remember, June," she said quietly, "these aliens value strength above all else. Show no fear." June nodded. "I understand." The airlock doors opened with a soft hiss. June held his breath as the Sauri delegation stepped into the human ship. They were tall, much taller than any human. Their skin was covered in fine green-brown scales that shimmered under the lights. Yellow eyes with vertical pupils scanned the room, taking in every detail. But what surprised June most was how graceful they moved, like dancers or skilled fighters always ready for action. The tallest Sauri stepped forward. "I am Ambassador Taha of the Sauri Empire. We accept your welcome." June couldn't help but stare. Taha's scales had a blue tint that the others didn't have. A sign of rank, perhaps. His scientific mind was already racing with questions. Captain Doyen performed the formal greeting and introduced her team. When she got to June, she said, "This is Dr. June Kim, our chief xenobiologist. He will help with cultural exchange during your stay." Taha's eyes fixed on June. The Sauri's gaze was intense, almost predatory. June forced himself to stand tall and look right back. After the formal greetings ended, June was assigned to show Taha to the guest quarters. They walked in silence through the hallways. June could feel the alien's eyes studying him. "You are smaller than the others," Taha finally said. It wasn't a question. "Yes," June replied simply. "Humans come in many sizes." "Interesting. In Sauri culture, the largest often lead." "Size isn't how we choose our leaders," June explained. "We value knowledge, experience, and wisdom." Taha made a sound that might have been a laugh, words that weak species use to hide their weakness. June bit his tongue. Getting into an argument with the ambassador on the first day wouldn't help the mission. They reached the guest quarters, and June showed Taha how to use the room's systems. The Sauri walked around, examining everything closely. "These will be acceptable," Taha said. When they reached June's nearby office where he would work with Taha on cultural exchange, the Sauri ambassador spotted Miri's case on the desk. "What is this small creature?" Taha moved closer to the glass. "That's Miri, my pet lizard," June said with a smile. "A distant relative of reptiles on Earth." Taha leaned down to look at Miri. The small green lizard pressed itself against the far side of the case, clearly afraid of the giant scaled face staring at it. "It is weak," Taha said, straightening up. "Sauri young are born fighters. They must be strong to survive." Something in Taha's tone bothered June. It wasn't just about the lizard. It felt like the Sauri was talking about all humans. "Different species, different ways," June said carefully. "Tomorrow we can begin learning more about each other's cultures." Taha's yellow eyes narrowed. "Yes, I look forward to learning all about humans and their pets." As June left Taha's quarters, he couldn't shake a feeling of unease. The diplomatic mission was just beginning, but he sensed that the gap between human and Sauri values might be wider than anyone had expected. And somehow, his little lizard Miri was now part of it all. The next morning, June prepared his office for the first official cultural exchange meeting. He moved Miri's case to a shelf where the small lizard could watch, but not be the center of attention. "Try to behave today," he told Miri with a smile. The lizard blinked its eyes slowly. June arranged the chairs and set up his tablet with information about Earth. His heart beat faster when the door slid open, and Teha walked in. The Sori ambassador seemed even taller today, standing straight with pride. "Good morning, Ambassador," Jun said. "I hope you slept well." "Sori need less rest than humans," Teha replied. "I used the night hours to study your ship's layout." Jun wasn't sure if that was allowed, but he nodded politely. "Today we'll learn about each other's worlds. Would you like to start, or shall I?" Teha sat down, the chair looking too small for her large frame. "I will begin. It is important you understand who we are." For the next hour, Teha explained Sori culture. The Sori lived in large clan groups led by the strongest warriors. They had conquered 3 solar systems before meeting humans. Fighting was central to their lives, not just war, but daily battles to prove strength and move up in rank. "Every Sori carries the honor of their clan," Teha said. "Weakness brings shame to all." Then Teha pulled something from a pouch at her waist. It was a small reptile, similar to a lizard but with 4 eyes and spiky scales along its back. "This is my Kirta," Teha said with clear pride. "Each Sori warrior raises one from birth. It grows with our victories." The creature was beautiful, with scales that shifted between green and blue. It was about 3 times larger than Miri. "May I?" Jun asked, reaching for his scanner. Teha nodded. Jun scanned the creature and looked at the readings with wide eyes. "Its DNA can change and adapt quickly," he said with excitement. "How is that possible?" "The Kirta grows when we succeed in battle," Teha explained. "The more glory we earn, the stronger it becomes. It is the living record of our achievements." Jun thought for a moment. "So it's a symbol of status." "Not just a symbol," Teha corrected sharply. "It is part of us. The stronger the warrior, the stronger the Kirta." From the shelf, Miri made a small noise. The Kirta turned its 4 eyes toward the case, making a low hissing sound. "Now tell me of humans," Teha said, putting the Kirta back in its pouch. Jun explained how humans valued cooperation over competition. He talked about Earth's history, how people learned that working together achieved more than fighting each other. "We believe the strongest societies are those where people help each other," Jun said, "where different skills and talents are all valued." Teha's face showed what looked like disgust. "How do you know who is best if you do not fight? How do leaders prove they deserve to lead?" "We choose leaders based on their ability to bring people together, to solve problems," Jun explained. "Physical strength is just one kind of strength." "Words to hide weakness," Teha said, just like the day before. "In the cold emptiness of space, only the strong survive." Jun tried another approach. "Humans reached the stars not because one person was strong, but because many worked as one. That's our strength." The Sori made that strange laughing sound again. "We will see whose path is better, human. The universe tests all species." As they continued talking, Jun noticed Teha kept looking at Miri's case. The small lizard seemed unusually alert, watching the Sori with unwavering attention. When the session ended, Teha stood to leave but paused at the door. "Tomorrow, you will tell me why humans keep weak creatures as pets instead of strong companions that bring honor." After Teha left, Jun went to Miri's case. "What do you think, little one? Are we just weak in their eyes?" To his surprise, Miri pressed a tiny foot against the glass, almost like she was trying to touch his hand. For a moment, Jun felt a strange connection to the small creature. Something told him there was more to learn about both Sori and humans than either side knew. 3 days of meetings with Teha had left Jun tired. The Sori ambassador asked hard questions and seemed unimpressed with human ways. Still, Jun felt they were making progress. Teha now greeted him with a slight nod instead of staring coldly. Today, Jun had invited Teha to his lab to show how humans studied alien life forms. The Sori arrived exactly on time, wearing what looked like formal armor with strange symbols. "This is where you work?" Taya asked, looking around at the clean white room filled with equipment. "Yes. I study how different species from different worlds are built," June explained. "Today I want to show you how we learn without harming other creatures." He led Taya to a table with small samples from plants found on nearby planets. The Sauri watched as June carefully prepared slides and samples. "Our tools let us see things too small for eyes," June said. "We can learn about life without fighting it." Taya made a sound that might have been doubt. "Knowledge without testing strength seems pointless. How do you know what a creature can do without seeing it fight?" June picked up a sharp tool to cut a thin slice from a purple leaf. "There are many kinds of tests besides fighting. This plant survived on a world with acid rain and—" His hand slipped. The cutting tool sliced across his finger. "Ah!" June dropped the tool. Blood welled up from the cut, bright red against his skin. Something strange happened then. Taya stepped back quickly, yellow eyes fixed on the blood. The Sauri's breathing changed, becoming faster. The scales around her neck flared out slightly. "You are damaged," Taya said, voice different than before. "It's just a small cut," Jun said, reaching for a medical patch in his pocket. "Nothing serious." But Taya was already backing toward the door. "We will continue tomorrow. I must attend to other matters." Before June could say anything, the Sauri ambassador was gone. He stood there, confused, as he pressed the patch to his bleeding finger. "That was weird," he muttered to himself. Later that night, Jun sat at his desk writing notes about the day. His finger throbbed a little under the healing patch. On the shelf, Mary's case caught his eye. The little lizard was unusually active, running back and forth along the glass. "What's got you so excited?" June asked, walking over to check. He froze when he got closer. Something was different. Mary's normally dull green scales now had a slight blue shine to them. And was she bigger? Just a little, but Jun was sure of it. He pulled out his scanner and checked the readings. Mary's body temperature was higher than normal. There were other changes too. Small differences in her cells that hadn't been there yesterday. "This isn't possible," he whispered. June opened the case and carefully picked up Mary. The lizard didn't try to escape like usual, but instead climbed onto his hand willingly. He felt a small tingle where Mary's feet touched his skin. "What's happening to you?" he asked. Mary looked at him with eyes that seemed somehow more aware than before. She tilted her head as if trying to understand his words. A noise in the hallway made June look up. Through the small window in his door, he saw a tall figure move quickly away. Had someone been watching him? Had that been Taya? June put Miri back in her case and went to the door. The hallway was empty now. He closed the door and locked it, feeling uneasy. That night, he couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about Taya's strange reaction to his blood and Miri's sudden changes. Were they connected somehow? He pulled up his computer and started searching the ship's database for information about Sauri biology. There wasn't much, but what he found made him sit up straight. An old report mentioned that Sauri avoided the blood of other species. No explanation why, just a note that they seemed disturbed by it. Another file suggested their companion creatures. The Kurita responded to chemical signals. June looked over at Miri's case. The lizard was watching him, eyes glinting in the dim light. "What are you becoming?" he whispered. "And why is Taya so interested?" June didn't see Taha for 2 days after the accident in the lab. The Sauri ambassador sent messages saying she was busy with important diplomatic work. June wasn't sure if he believed this. He spent these days studying Miri and searching for more information about the Sauri. The changes in his pet lizard continued. Miri was now definitely larger, and the blue tint in her scales was more visible. She moved differently too, watching June with what seemed like understanding. On the third morning, Captain Doyen called June to her office. "The Sauri delegation is making new demands," she said, looking worried. They want access to Earth's colony planets for joint defense exercises. That wasn't part of our original talks. June frowned. That sounds like they want to put Sori soldiers on our worlds. Exactly, Doyen nodded. You've spent the most time with Ambassador Tata. What's your feeling about her and the Sori? June thought carefully before answering. They respect strength above all else. I think they're testing us, seeing how much we'll give up without fighting back. And what about Teha herself? Can we trust her? I'm not sure, June admitted. Something strange happened in the lab. When I cut my finger, she seemed afraid of my blood. Doyen raised an eyebrow. Afraid? The Sori don't seem afraid of anything. Not afraid exactly. More like shocked or disturbed. June paused. Captain, I need to show you something. Back in his quarters, Jun showed Doyen the changes in Miri. The captain watched in surprise as the small lizard performed simple tricks Jun had never taught her. She's learning things on her own now, Jun explained. And look at her scales. They're changing color like the Sori Kirta. When did this start? Doyen asked. Right after I cut myself in the lab. I think there's a connection between human blood and how these reptiles develop. Doyen looked troubled. If human blood has some effect on their companion creatures, it might be why they're really here. June finished her thought. I found some old files that mention the Sori avoid contact with other species' blood, but there's not much information. Keep digging, Doyen ordered, and be careful around Taya. If the Sori want something from us they're not saying, we need to know what it is. After Doyen left, June continued his research. He was deep in an old report about Sori biology when his door chimed. He quickly put Miri back in her case before opening the door. Taya stood there, tall and imposing. Ambassador, Jum said, surprised. I thought you were busy with diplomatic duties. We need to talk, Taya said, pushing past him into the room. Alone. The door closed behind her. Taya's yellow eyes scanned the room and fixed on Miri's case. Your pet has changed, she said. It wasn't a question. Yes, June answered carefully. I've been meaning to ask you about that. Do you know why? Taya moved closer to him. For the first time, June felt truly afraid of the large alien. But then he saw something unexpected in her eyes. Not threat, but worry. What I am about to tell you goes against my orders and my people, Taya said quietly. But I have watched you, studied you. You are different from other humans. How am I different? You seek to understand, not just to use. This is rare among any species. Teha looked at Miri again. Your blood has power, human. A power my people have sought for centuries. June's heart beat faster. What kind of power? Your biochemistry contains compounds that trigger rapid evolution in certain species, especially those related to us Sori. Teha's voice dropped lower. It is why we really came to meet humans, not for peace talks. What do you mean? June asked, though he was beginning to understand. The Sori High Command plans to use humans as resources. Once our alliance is signed, they will take what they need. June stepped back. You mean harvest our blood? For what? To evolve our Kirta beyond their natural limits. To gain power. Teha looked directly at June. I am telling you this because I believe it is wrong. My people's path of conquest must end. Why are you betraying your people to tell me this? June asked. Because, Teha said, looking at Miri, I have never seen a companion creature change so quickly. There is more to human blood than even my leaders know. June stared at Teha, trying to process what she had just told him. The Sori planned to use humans as a resource to harvest their blood. Now Teha was risking everything to warn him. I don't understand, he said finally. Why would you turn against your own people? Teha moved to the window, looking out at the stars. I have served the Empire for many years. I have seen many worlds conquered, many species made to serve us. She turned back to face him. But humans are different. Different how? Your blood doesn't just change our Kirta. It changes us too. Slowly, but deeply. She touched the pouch where she kept her companion creature. My Kirta has been speaking to me since I was near your blood. This has never happened before. Speaking? You mean telepathically? June asked, amazed. Yes. For the first time, I hear its thoughts. It questions our ways. Teha's eyes showed confusion. This is why the High Command wants human blood. They believe it will make the Kirta more powerful weapons, but they do not understand what else it does. June walked over to Miri's case. The small lizard was watching them, head tilted as if listening. What else does it do? It creates connection, a bond between species that should not be possible. Teha looked troubled. This goes against everything we believe. That strength comes from dominating others, not connecting with them. So that's why you seemed afraid of my blood in the lab, Jun said, understanding now. You knew what it could do. Yes, I had been warned about it, but seeing it, I knew I had to learn more. Teha stepped closer to the case. May I see your pet again? Jun hesitated, then nodded. He opened the case and Miri climbed onto his hand willingly. The lizard's colors seemed to shift subtly as they washed, blue patterns moving across her scales. She's beautiful, Teha said softly, and full of potential that my people would kill for. What will happen now? June asked. The other Sauri don't know I told you this. They still think I'm following orders. Teha looked worried. But if they discover Miri's changes, they will know human blood is even more powerful than they thought. They will act sooner. We need to warn Captain Doyen, Jun said. The whole ship could be in danger. It's not just this ship, Teha said gravely. The Sauri fleet is waiting just beyond your detection range. Once they have what they need, they plan to attack all human worlds. Jun's blood ran cold. Why tell me this? You're betraying everything your people stand for. Teha was quiet for a long moment. Because in your lab, when your blood touched the air, I felt something I never had before. My Kirta responded, and through it, I felt regret, shame for what we have done to other species. She looked directly at Jun. I have killed many beings across many worlds, but seeing what your blood does to Miri, creating growth without violence, I began to question our path. A sudden loud alarm blared through the ship. Red warning lights flashed in the corridor outside. What's happening? Teha asked, looking alarmed. Jun rushed to his computer. Someone's breached the secure lab section. The ship's on lockdown. Teha's face hardened. They're coming for you. Sejin, our head scientist, has been pushing to start the collection process early. Collection. Jun felt sick. Humans, to drain their blood. Teha pulled something from her belt. A weapon. But instead of pointing it at Jun, she handed it to him. Take this. We need to warn your captain and find somewhere safe. Jun took the strange weapon, not sure how to use it. Miri, still on his hand, made a chirping sound and climbed up his arm to his shoulder. She's protecting you, Teha said, watching the lizard. The bond is growing stronger. The door to Jun's quarters suddenly shook as something heavy slammed against it from outside. They're here, Teha said. We must go now. The door to Jun's quarters shook again. Metal groaned as something powerful hit it from outside. Quick, the ventilation shaft, Teha said, pointing to a panel in the wall. Jun grabbed his tablet and a small medical kit. With Miri still on his shoulder, he pulled the panel open. It was tight, but they could fit. You first, Teha said. I'll follow. Just as Jun crawled in, the door burst open. 3 Sauri warriors stood there, wearing combat armor and carrying weapons. Their scales were darker than Teha's, nearly black. Traitor, one of them hissed at Teha. Teha pushed Jun forward. Go. I'll hold them off. As Jun crawled deeper into the shaft, he heard fighting behind him. Crashes and roars echoed through the metal tunnel. Then a high-pitched sound made his ears hurt, followed by silence. He kept moving until he reached a junction. Looking back, he saw Teha crawling toward him, but she was hurt. Dark blood dripped from cuts on her arm and face. "They'll follow our scent," she said, breathing hard. "We need to reach your captain." They moved through the ship's maintenance tunnels, avoiding the main corridors. Alarms still blared throughout the ship. Through small vents, they could see Sori warriors rounding up human crew members. "They're taking over the ship," Jun whispered. "How many Sori are on board?" "A dozen warriors came with us, hiding as diplomatic staff," Teha explained. "Highly trained. Deadly." They reached a small maintenance room and stopped to catch their breath. Jun checked his tablet. "Communications are down. We can't reach the captain." Teha leaned against the wall, clearly in pain. "We need to get to the command center. It's our only chance to warn Earth." Jun nodded and opened his medical kit. "Let me help you first." He took out a bandage and reached for Teha's arm. "No," she said sharply. "Don't touch my blood. I need to stop the bleeding." "Our blood is toxic to humans," she warned. "And yours is powerful to us. Be careful." As Jun worked, he felt a sharp pain in his hand. A piece of metal had cut his palm. His blood mixed with Teha's on the bandage. Miri, still on his shoulder, suddenly jumped down to the floor. She made a strange chirping sound and began to shake. "What's happening to her?" Jun asked, alarmed. Teha's eyes widened. "Your blood. It's accelerating the changes." They watched in amazement as Miri's body began to grow rapidly. Her scales rippled and changed colors, flowing from green to blue to purple. Her legs grew longer, stronger. Her head changed shape, becoming more defined. Within minutes, Miri was the size of a small dog. Her eyes were larger, gleaming with intelligence. A pattern of bright blue lines ran across her now purple scales. "This is not possible," Teha whispered. "Even with human blood, a Kirta takes months to evolve." The transformed Miri walked toward Jun and looked up at him. He felt a strange sensation in his mind, like a soft touch. I think she's trying to communicate with me," he said. Teha pulled out her own Kirta. The small creature seemed agitated, staring at Miri. "This is what the High Command fears and desires," Teha said. "Your blood has created something new, something with powers we do not understand." Miri suddenly turned toward the door, making a low growling sound. Seconds later, they heard footsteps in the corridor outside. "They found us," Teha said, grabbing her weapon. But before either of them could move, Miri ran to the door controls. She placed her clawed foot on the panel, and to their shock, the lights on the panel changed. "She's locking the door," Jun said in disbelief. "How can she interact with our technology?" The footsteps passed by without stopping. Miri turned back to them, her eyes glowing slightly. "She protected us," Teha said. "I've never seen a companion creature do this." "What else can she do?" Jun wondered. "I think we're about to find out," Teha replied. "And so are my people." Jun, Teha, and the transformed Miri moved carefully through the ship's service passages. The alarms had stopped, which worried Jun more than when they were blaring. "They've taken control of the main systems," he whispered. Teha nodded. "They'll be looking for us on all security cameras." Miri walked ahead of them, her new larger body moving with grace. Several times she stopped and made them wait, seeming to sense danger before they could. Once, she led them down a different path, just moments before a group of Sori warriors passed by. "How is she doing that?" Jun asked. "I think she's connecting to the ship somehow," Teha said. "The patterns on her scales, they look like circuit paths now." They reached a small observation room with a view of the main hangar. What they saw made Jun's heart sink. Human crew members were being herded into shuttlecraft by armed Sori. "They're taking prisoners," he said, "for their blood." Teha's face showed shame. "This is not honor. This is not the way of true warriors." A sound from behind made them turn. A tall Sori warrior stood in the doorway, weapon raised. It was Sijin, the chief scientist. "I knew you would betray us, Taita," Sijin said. "You always questioned our ways too much." Taita pushed Jun behind her. "This is wrong, Sijin. Using other species as resources is not the path to strength." "Weak words from a weak warrior," Sijin said. Then his eyes fell on Miri. "What is D8? Miri stood tall, her purple and blue scales glowing slightly. She made a sound that was almost a hiss. "The human's pet," Taita said, "changed by his blood." Sejin's eyes widened. "Impossible. The transformation is too advanced." He raised his weapon. "I will take both the human and this creature for study." "No," Taita said firmly, drawing her own weapon. "I won't let you. You would fight your own kind for these humans." Sejin sounded disgusted. "For what is right," Taita answered. Sejin fired his weapon. A flash of energy hit Taita in the shoulder, knocking her down. He turned the weapon toward Jun. But before he could fire again, Miri leaped forward. She landed on Sejin's arm, her claws digging into his scales. The Sori roared in pain and tried to shake her off. "Get off me, beast!" he shouted. To everyone's surprise, Miri's body began to glow where she touched Sejin's arm. The Sori's weapon sparked and then went dead. "She's disrupting the energy flow," Taita said, amazed despite her pain. Sejin threw Miri against the wall and pulled out a blade. "I'll take you apart to see how you work," he growled at the lizard. Jun grabbed a metal pipe from a broken panel and swung it at Sejin. The blow landed, but barely hurt the large alien. Sejin turned to Jun with rage in his yellow eyes. "You'll die first, human." A new voice came from the doorway. "Stop right there." Captain Doyen stood with a small group of human security officers, all armed. "Captain," Jun said with relief. Sejin looked between the humans and his fallen weapon. "You're too late. The ship is ours. War Chief Ki-yun holds your command center." "Not anymore," Doyen said. "We've retaken the bridge. Your warriors are being contained." Sejin laughed, a harsh sound. "You think this is our only force? Our main fleet waits nearby. Soon they will arrive, and all humans will serve the Sori Empire." He pressed something on his wrist guard. A high-pitched signal filled the air. "What did you do?" Taita demanded, rising despite her injury. "Called the fleet," Sejin said with cruel satisfaction. "They will be here within hours." Captain Doyen's officers took Sejin into custody. Jun rushed to help Taita, who was bleeding badly now. "We need to get her to medical," he told the captain. "First I need to know what's happening," Doyen said. She looked at Miri with surprise. "Is that your lizard?" "Yes," Jun said. "It's a long story, but the Sori want our blood. It has special properties that change their companion creatures. And more," Taita added weakly. "There's much you don't know about your own power, humans." "The war chief," Jun said urgently. "Did you really capture him?" Doyen's face darkened. "We thought we did. But he escaped, taking hostages. He's barricaded himself in the communications room." "Then Sejin wasn't lying about calling their fleet," Taita said. "We don't have much time." In the ship's medical bay, doctors treated Taita's wounds while Jun explained everything to Captain Doyen. The captain listened with a serious face as Jun told her about human blood and its effects on the Sori companion creatures. "So they want to farm us for our blood," Doyen said grimly. "And their fleet is coming." "Yes," Jun nodded. "But there's something else going on that even the Sori don't fully understand." He pointed to Miri, who sat alert on a nearby table, her purple-blue scales shimmering under the lights. "Your pet lizard grew this big from just a few drops of your blood?" Doyen asked, looking skeptical. "Not just that," Taita said from the medical bed. "It was the mixing of human blood with mine. It created something new." Miri turned her head toward them, as if listening to their conversation. Her eyes seemed to glow slightly. The ship's comm system suddenly came alive. A deep, harsh voice filled the room. Humans of research vessel. This is War Chief Ki-yun of the Sori Empire. I hold your communications center and 6 of your crew. Our fleet approaches. Surrender Jun Kim and the transformed creature to me, or all humans on this ship will die. The message ended with a sharp click. He knows about Miri, Jun said, and he wants both of us. Taiha struggled to sit up. Ki-yun is dangerous. He's the strongest warrior in our delegation and completely loyal to the High Command. What options do we have? Doyen asked. I understand now, Taiha said slowly. There's an old Sori legend about blood givers, beings whose sacrifice could elevate other species. What does that mean? Jun asked. For thousands of years, Sori have believed that strength comes only through combat and domination. Taiha explained. But there were ancient texts that spoke of another path, evolution through connection, beings who could share their essence to help others grow. And that's what humans are. These blood givers? Doyen asked. Yes, Taiha nodded. Your blood doesn't just change our Kirta. It awakens potential in any compatible species. Jun looked at Miri with new understanding. That's why she can interface with technology now. Our blood activated abilities that were dormant in her genes. The Sori High Command fears this power, Taiha continued. If species can evolve through cooperation rather than conquest, our entire empire could collapse. Miri suddenly jumped down from the table and walked to a computer terminal. To everyone's surprise, she placed her front claws on the screen. The display changed, showing diagrams of the ship and the positions of all Sori warriors. She's accessing the ship's systems, Doyen gasped. This is beyond what any Kirta has ever done, Taiha said in awe. She's not just evolved, she's transformed into something entirely new. Jun moved closer to Miri. Can you help us stop Ki-yun? The lizard looked at him, and for a moment, Jun felt a clear thought in his mind. Yes. Together, I think I can communicate with her now, he said excitedly. The bond is growing stronger. Taiha stood up, despite the doctor's protests. There's more you need to know, Jun. The Sori fear humans not just for what your blood does to our companions. We fear what it might do to us. What do you mean? The old texts say that blood givers could help others reach their full potential. Taiha said seriously. What if humans could help the Sori evolve beyond our violent nature? What if connection, not combat, is our true path forward? Jun thought about this. Is that why you helped me? You believe in this other path. I didn't at first, Taiha admitted. But when I saw what happened to Miri, when I felt my own Kirita speak to me for the first time, I began to question everything I was taught. Captain Doyen checked her tablet. We have less than an hour before their fleet arrives. We need a plan. Miri made a chirping sound and changed the display again. It showed the communications center where Ki-yun held the hostages. Jun looked at Taiha, then at Miri. I think I know what we need to do. But it's risky, and I'll need both of you to help. What's your plan? Doyen asked. We need to show Ki-yun the truth about human blood, Jun said. Not as a weapon, but as a bridge between species. Jun, Taiha, and Miri stood outside the communications center. Inside, War Chief Ki-yun held 6 human crew members hostage. Captain Doyen and her security team waited nearby, ready to act if the plan failed. Are you sure about this? Taiha asked Jun. Ki-yun is the fiercest warrior in our delegation. No, I'm not sure, Jun admitted. But it's our best chance. He looked down at Miri, who stood tall beside him. Ready? The transformed lizard made a soft chirping sound, and Jun felt a wave of confidence flow from her mind to his. Their bond was stronger than ever. Jun pressed the door calm. War Chief Ki-yun, this is Jun Kim. I'm here with the creature, just as you asked. The door slid open. Ki-yun stood inside, a massive Sori with dark gray scales and cold yellow eyes. Behind him, the human hostages sat against the wall, guarded by two sorry warriors. "Enter," Kian ordered. "You too, traitor," he added, glaring at Taya. They walked in slowly, Kian's eyes fixed on Miri. "So this is the transformed creature," he said. "Impressive. Our scientists will learn much from dissecting it." "That won't be necessary," Jun said calmly. "There's something you need to understand about human blood first." Kian laughed harshly. "I understand everything I need to know. It will make our Kirta the most powerful weapons in the galaxy." "Not weapons," Taya said. "The old texts speak of evolution through connection, not combat." "Children's stories." Kian spat. "Strength comes from domination. That is the sorry way." As they spoke, Miri slowly moved around the edge of the room. The sorry warriors watched her nervously, their own Kirta making agitated noises from their pouches. "Let me show you something," Jun said. He pulled out a small knife from his pocket. Kian tensed, but Jun turned the blade toward his own palm. "Our blood doesn't give power through violence. It gives power through sharing." Before anyone could stop him, Jun cut across his palm. Blood welled up, bright red against his skin. "Stop him," Kian ordered his warriors, but they froze as something unexpected happened. All the sorry Kirta began chirping loudly, trying to get out of their pouches. Kian's own companion creature emerged, its eyes fixed on Jun's bleeding hand. "What are you doing?" Kian demanded, trying to control this Kirta. "Showing you the truth," Jun said. He looked at Taya. "Do you trust me?" Taya hesitated for just a moment, then nodded. Jun reached out and pressed his bleeding palm against the wound on Taya's shoulder that was still healing. A bright glow spread where their blood mixed. Taya gasped, her eyes widening. Her Kirta jumped from its pouch and landed on her arm, its scales beginning to change color like Miri's had. "What is happening?" Kian asked, his voice no longer so confident. "The awakening," Taya said softly. She looked at her Kirita with wonder. "I can hear its thoughts clearly now. Not just emotions, but words, ideas." The Kirita looked at Kian and the other sorry, then made a complex series of sounds. "It says we have been wrong," Taya translated, amazed. "Our companions have always tried to guide us toward connection, not conquest, but we could not hear them properly." Miri moved to the center of the room, her scales glowing brightly. One by one, the sorry warriors' Kirta broke free from their pouches and gathered around her. "This is heresy," Kian said, but his voice lacked conviction. His own Kirta had joined the others. "No," Jun said, "it's evolution. Humans don't want to fight sorry. We want to help all species grow beyond violence." Outside the ship, alarms began to sound. The sorry fleet had arrived. "You must choose now, Kian," Taya said. "Continue a path of endless war, or discover what we might become through cooperation." Kian looked at the gathered Kirta, at his own companion now communicating freely with the others. For the first time, uncertainty showed in his yellow eyes. "The High Command will never accept this," he said. "They will when they see what's possible," Jun replied. He nodded toward the communications console. "Show them. Let them see what happens when species work together instead of fighting." Slowly, Kian nodded. He turned to the console and opened a channel to the approaching fleet. "This is War Chief Kian," he said, his voice firm once more. "Hold your attack. There is something all sorry must witness." As the hostages were released and the crisis diffused, Jun looked down at Miri. The once small lizard that Taya had called weak now stood proud and strong, a bridge between two species. "Not so weak after all," he said softly. Miri looked up at him, and in his mind, Jun heard her clear reply. "*We are stronger together than apart*.